We are live. Yes, we are live. Loving it. Welcome. It's Tuesday, March 30th. Wow, I can't believe it's March 30th. I say that almost every single time, bro. Like you're not in the green room. I decided to go live with you like right away because people, they need to see the prep. They need to see what happens behind the scenes. It's kind of like we're the Kardashians. Here's what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah. Okay, that's a scary thought.
So you know what? I just realized that I took off our names yesterday, and I'm going to go back in the settings. I don't even know if I can change those things, but
I'm not seeing any notification that we're live in Facebook.
Oh, we're live. We got 3 people right now watching us. We got some people in the Strategic Marketing Club Facebook group. Good to see you. We got some people in my Facebook page and nobody on the YouTube yet, but welcome to the show. Say hi, let us know that you're here, and do me a favor. And thanks for the love, by the way, whoever you are. In the description, there's a little link that says to StreamYard that we can know who you are. Just give that permission so that when you comment, we can put your name on screen and give you a little bit of love too. There's a little link that says. Thank you very, very much. Can you turn down your volume a little bit on your side, Scott? Because I'm getting that feedback.
No, actually, it was YouTube.
Okay, cool. I don't know about that. I don't know what that means, but I'll take it, Meadow. Good to see you here.
She probably doesn't want to do anything that you're telling her to do.
I see. Hey, we got some YouTubers. Good to see you on the YouTube. That might be you, Scott, but hey, I'll still take it.
It's me.
All right, cool. What we're going to do is, Scott, today what we're going to talk about is it's basically Scott's pick today, and you have hopefully the notes from my 57 book notes. You have the notes that I gave you, correct?
Yes.
So I figured you would go through that very quickly, scan what kind of piques your interest, and we'll talk about that. What we'll talk about is the Kardashian moment. Oh, okay, now I got you. Thanks, Meadow. Right, cool. Have upgraded StreamYard again. We're using StreamYard for now because I was just too lazy to get the eCam connected and all that. So
you wasted an hour of my life last night getting.
We didn't know. Hey, there's never a waste, man. There's always a learning experience.
Thing again.
So I'm putting Scott on the. What am I doing?
I have no idea what you're doing, but basically. You're putting me on the spot.
On the spot. That's what I was looking for. I'm putting Scott on the spot because he has no idea what we're talking about, which usually happens every single Tuesday anyway. We don't know what we're talking about until 10 minutes earlier. And so now we have a nice document here of some notes that I took from the 57 big ideas that Scott gave me as a book to read from Ken McCarthy. And I figured, hey, you know what? There's some really good ideas in here, and we're going to ask Scott to go through, pick one of the topics, and we'll just go with it. And we'll probably go down a lot of different rabbit holes today, but that's what we're here for. So let us know you're here. Give us a thumbs up, likes, or anything like that that helps us tell Facebook and YouTube that we're doing a good job, and we can serve more heart-centered entrepreneurs just like you.
Yeah.
So did that give you enough time to pick a topic?
Oh, God, yeah, Joey. 30 seconds was enough time. So thank you for that wonderful introduction, which said nothing about me, and my name's not up here again.
Okay, I'll let you take over, and I'll try to figure out the back end and get our names up there.
Just remember, everyone, Joey just said, I'll let you take over.
Yeah, it's on camera. I can't take it back now, right?
4 or 5 powerful words, depending on if takeover is 1 or 2 words. But last night you had me in a prettier blue under my name.
Remember, this is not eCam.
I don't care. You're the tech guy. Anyway, so one of the first things that really impressed me, Joey, about the book, 57 Big Ideas, that you read, and you just told me to get another book the other day, which I got. It's not here yet.
By the way, are you seeing all the love coming through for you to take over? Look at everybody's on your side today.
Yeah. Love it. Look at all that action. That's all we got to do, Joey, is let me take over and the comments begin. The love multiplies. Okay, so the care and maintenance of your most important asset. I remember years ago when I was traveling all over the world and speaking, and I would say, how many of you have a list? This was way back when. We're talking probably 20 years ago. And people are like, yeah, I got a list. I'm like, well, where is it? In my file cabinet. Okay, when's the last time you sent anything to anybody? Oh, about 6 months ago. Well, why? Because if I email them, they might unsubscribe from my list.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we still hear that today.
Yeah, if you don't email them, then nothing's going to happen. So what I really want to probably, if you could ask me to take one big idea from the 57 big ideas, it would be this one, which is the care and maintenance of your most important asset. And you do that constantly in the group. Is, I kid with you, of course, when you're like, hey, look, if you don't participate, get out. And I'm going to boot you out because why? Hey, I've got 87,000 people in my Facebook group. Yeah, and how many people actually participate? 4. So,
Meadow, you've got a big group, though, I think. Don't you have a huge following in your Facebook group? Maybe can you move some of those over to your list?
So much for letting Scott take over.
Dude, man, I'm doing what you do to me. I'm looking at the comments and saying the comments. So that's what happens when you're the host. You see,
what does Meadow do, and what kind of list does she have? What kind of group does she have? As long as we're going to be talking to Meadow, we might as well get some details.
Well, I wanted you to finish your thought. What's the big thought?
Are you sure you do, Joey?
Positive, man.
Okay, good.
We're going. You can see where this is going, guys.
Oh, it's already gone downhill.
I'm just warning you.
So the care and maintenance of your most important asset is your list. They used to say the money is in the list. No, the money is in the relationship with the list. It's getting the list to interact, to respond, to do something based on what you do. And it's not just, okay, every time I send out an email with an offer, they respond, which I actually kind of love, But what have you done to enrich your members this week on your list? Joey, you do that every single day. What do you do to enrich the list, to enrich the group? That's just you. You're constantly providing value. And if you think of people on your list as people and not as what they really are, which is, people you want to hang out with, people you want to love. And the biggest thing I like about what he said is every week, Ken McCarthy goes to the bank and in his safe deposit box, he puts the updated list in there. And it is a significance of how important that list is. And he thinks about it on the way to the bank. What would happen if we treated our list like something we would put in a safe deposit box? You wouldn't go to the bank and put a crap load of papers with junk on it. It would be valuables. And that to me is just huge. And like you, I have gotten my list down from thousands to like under 400 on my entire list. Because look, if you don't respond, if you don't interact, then the ISPs and ESPs, the email gods, are going to say, your list is crap. Yeah. So it's vitally important that we build our list one at a time and we create a relationship with that list. And what do we do to provide value to the list? There's so much crap being sent out there these days.
This funny thing, because a lot of people will say that when they want to send to their list, it'll be only for the offers. That's when they send out to their list. And I hate calling it a list. You know me, I'm trying to change up the vocabulary of what I call these things. Yeah. And I like, a group. I like community. That's my community inside my Keep program. It's my group. So I don't want to, they're not a list of names or a list of numbers and if you just change the way that you look at everything, even the way you call things, everything, it's a perspective shift that helps you understand, or at least maybe want to give more value rather than just saying, I'm just going to blast my list for this offer and whatever comes. And if I get opt-out to whatever, I'll just keep on building and the front end and, just that whole mentality. of these are just, I'm just going to blast this thing and get as much money as I can out of it. Whereas the way that we do it, as you know, is look, whenever you're ready, here's some really cool stuff to know. And whenever you're ready to work with us in any way, here's a couple ways to do it.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's where your super PS is so powerful. That's one of the early on takeaways I got from you.
And by the way, like, to all credit, that's not mine. I mean, Dean Jackson created it. We took that idea, but I ran with it. So
very little of what we do is ours. And you and I were constantly, here's who I know this came from, or I have no clue who this one came from. And in a rare occasion, it's like this came from you or this came from me. And lately, over the past year, you and I are on calls, and all of a sudden stuff comes up from our collaboration. And it's like, holy crap, bro, I'm stealing that.
Yeah.
Like, well, yours, or I'm stealing that. I've already registered the domains, and so you can't have it. So that really is vital. It's and it's interesting, Joey. You said, because you kept beating me up about the nomenclature, and I've got over there is, the first piece is the invite and the flirt, the trailer, the teaser. I'm obviously playing with video related things on. Okay, so the first piece of content is the teaser. It's the trailer. And if I want to go the dating route, it's the flirt rather than the LM thingy. Because, Susan's not on here, but Petra might call me on it if I use the LM or TW thingy. So that relationship with your tribe, with your audience, with your community, your family. I get on my lives and I'm like, hi, family.
Yeah.
You are my family. The people that interact I want to help them in a way I'd help you, my family.
Well, that's a cool way of looking at it too. Like, what would you, if you were sending out an email to your family, how would you do it? You're not going to do it the way that most marketers do. So that's a great way of looking at the email list as well, by saying, hey, I'm going to send something really cool to my family and let them know what's going on, share some stuff, right?
Well, it's when I do lives, like you do lives, Joey, it's just like, hey, family, I've been really busy. Just want to give you an update of what's going on. And that's what I do. If I called my sister, I'd say, hey, Lisa, I just want to give you an update and tell you what's going on in my life, how things going with you. Hope you're having an incredible day. I love you, and I hope I see you soon.
Right.
Here's what's going on. I don't necessarily say to my family on the world out there that I love them, but who knows? That could come. And it's my other family behind me in the studio. Yeah, there's all kinds of love. And
yeah. What would you say would be the equivalent now of, taking the list to the bank, the physical list to a safe deposit box?
What would be the equivalent of that?
Yeah. Like, what would you say to somebody now, to say, look, this is how Ken McCarthy does or did it, whatever. What would you say to somebody now to say, look, this is how you need to protect your list? What would you say? I
would tell somebody to do a few things. One, I would tell them to export their list to a thumb drive. Mm-hmm. I would tell them to upload it to a cloud. And I would have them put it on an external hard drive and on their internal hard drive, 4 places. And I tell them to print it out, put it in a way cool folder, and stick it in a fireproof box in your office. Because the world's got to blow up then for you to not have your list. And that my list has snail mail addresses on them. That I'm adamant about that, because one of the things he talks about a lot in here, and I'm reading the boron letters again, and still I believe, somebody was asking me the other day, how should I market my business? I said, postcards. They're like, does that work anymore? I was like, does that work anymore? That's a 99.9% guarantee. I can deliver my message to you. You're going to at least touch it and see it. I can't guarantee that anywhere else. And I was like, well, also write a letter. And so those are some of the important things, because if everything blows up, I want to know that I can at least somehow communicate with my family. Exactly.
And what this reminds me of, when I first began my business, and what I did, I just remember this, and this is how important this is to everybody listening, because nowadays it's like everything's digital. It's like, yeah, an email list, I'll put an opt-in up, or I'll do a Facebook ad or whatever it is. And, I'm not sure that 100% of the people really understand how important that is. And because it's like, I'll just push another button and get more people if these people have opted out, whatever. And to do all the other stuff that we're talking about, nurture them and take care of them. And I'm going to jump around here as I always do, but there's a couple of different things I really want to point out.
You're going to jump around, Joey? I'm shocked.
One is that 15% of the people who join your tribe and your family, your email list, will buy from you within the first 90 days, right? 15% of those people. And that is where everybody focuses. They're like, okay, I want the money now. I want the money now. Here's the interesting part. And this, again, all of Dean Jackson. Okay. I'm not saying that I made all this up. This is where I learned it from Dean. And here's the interesting part. 50% of those people who joined will buy within 18 months. And what happens is, yes, really. Is that 50% of the 50% or 50% of the 80% or 90%?
No,
if you get 100 people come in today,
okay,
15% of them will buy
15
within 90 days. And then the rest of those people, the same 100, 50% of those people will buy in 18 months from now.
Well, it's 50% of the 85, not the 100.
I guess. Well, however the math works, but another 50% will buy from that first 100 group, right? So yeah, I guess it's 50% of the 85 people left over.
Based on them opting in or?
No, yeah, just them being on your list. It's the nurture process. It's the stuff we talk about all the time, right? It's constantly communicating, but we forget about them because, most marketers will hit them at the beginning with a 4-day cash machine, or they'll hit them with buy my stuff. And they're like, oh, these guys are like, they're dead leads. Oh my God. I hate that so much when people would say they're dead leads. They're not dead leads at all. They're just not ready. Most people are not ready to give their money to a stranger. I don't care how good your opt-in or your lead magnet or your launch or whatever that is looks like. It's not human nature to give money to a stranger, right? So it's like your job is to continuously nurture them and make them feel comfortable. And so, but to marketers like us, to people who we care about our family, the whole back end is wide open for us because everybody leaves them and they don't feel cared for. So that's one thing that I want to mention.
Well, Joey, look, so Susan said, I need to go through my list and see who really wants to stay on. Yeah, no ifs, ands, or buts. I know you do that too, Joey, and say, hey, okay, here's the scoop. Haven't heard from you, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And it's true that people get on your list for a reason. And we don't know who's on the other end of the screen on the email list. We don't know who's in what situation today. They might be like, holy crap. Like I told you about Jason Moffat for a year. I watched that guy. And then he made an offer that was $197. And I'm like, I'm in, no brainer, boom. 2 weeks later, it was a $900 offer. I'm like, I'm in, no brainer. That was after a year of kind of watching him being on his list. And that's proof. I've seen people on my list that hang out. And then all of a sudden, boom, they're like, they could be working a full-time job.
Right.
And decide to get on and they hear about you and they get on your list. They could be struggling and they don't have the money. And then in 90 days, something happens and all of a sudden they've got a little money, but you've been providing them value and value and value. And then all of a sudden they're like, okay, now I got the money for this thing.
That's why the Super PS works so well, because it's so gentle. It's at the end of it. Hey, look, whenever you're ready, it's cool. Here are the ways that you can work with me, right? Rather than, and I'm not saying never promote or never give an offer, a direct offer. I'm not saying that. But 80% of your stuff is, let me help you. Here's some really cool stuff. Here's how this will help you. By the way, if you ever want to, whenever you're ready, if that's today, then here's some ways I'm gonna work with you. That relieves the pressure of them oh my God, it's a scarcity thing. The timer's running out, Friday deadline, whatever. And like you said, it could be a year from now when they finally are ready to go. And that is why it's so powerful. And so the 50% of those people that everybody else leaves, they now are in our world, and they know that we care because we're not shoving these deadline things down their throat every single week.
And Joey, it's really important that we talk to them in a nurturing, loving way. And going back to this document here, one of the things that you outlined was that writing copy is not all bold, uppercase, screaming at people, and writing scammy, spammy stuff that we read and see all the time.
Right.
It's talking to them like human beings. Like I say, look, we're going to be launching our software in the next few weeks to this, but right now, I want you to have this thing for free that we put together. And by the way, we just upgraded everything in the software. So instead of having 180 things that you usually got, I've added like 500 of them. And they're amazing, and I'm about to give it to you. Oh, and by the way, I've got this other cool thing that we're giving you. And then it's like, oh, by the way, I just had these other things created that I'm going to sell for like $300, and you can have them for $100 until once we launch it. And so it's peppered in between, and I know they need these things. And so I'm providing them something that they need.
Yeah, for sure. And Meadow, thank you for the question. There's a couple of different ways. I don't know what the context of what you're asking, but there are two major ways that people can work with me. One is through a brand new program that I call Atlas, which is really cool. It hasn't been released yet, but if you're in my group, you know all about it. By the way, you know what? It'll give me an excuse to put up the group. If anybody watching this still wants to join the group, it's absolutely free. Come into the group and you'll know a little bit more about Atlas. And as well, the Strategic Marketing VIP, which is my weekly group coaching, which has taken off in the last month or so. It's awesome. A very, very cool group of people that we now limit to only 150 people. And in fact, this gives me a great segue into promote it, because, and the reason I want to promote it now is because it is actually doubling in price in 2 days. So that's not a scarcity thing. I rarely, I don't do this all kinds of stuff. And Scott, you know this, and anybody who does watch me, I know that I don't do these things, but this is for real. And the reason we're doing that is because we are limiting the group to 150 people only. And I think we are a third of the way there already. So I would just want to make sure that it's leveraged for everybody, including myself. That's the reason why. So that's opening the kimono and telling the whole truth of what's going on. So those are the main two ways that you can work with me. If there's other ways, just give me a ping and we can talk about whatever that is.
She wants to know if you're doing one-on-ones anymore.
I am doing them, but I'm almost right to the top with one-on-one. That's the reason why the Atlas is coming into play. So thank you for that. Meadow, just reach out and we'll talk again. Okay. Thank you, Tyne. So it's one of the best ways to end your email.
I thought it was teen.
Like teen, you're right. Sorry, Christine.
Fine. You're not a fork.
Sorry, yeah. I apologize. Teen. That's a very good way to end the emails whenever you're ready. Exactly. It's when I have the time, right? I really like that ending and feel that it could make it fit for me, not me a fit for your sequence. And you know what? You hit the nail on the head, Teen. The nail on the head. What this means, and everybody needs to hear this, that we need to understand that we have to be okay with people making a choice on their schedule, on their time, not ours, not our deadline, not our sequence, not our launch, closing carts and all that stuff. It's on their schedule. And that is why these super PSs work so well. And yes, there are times when we do a launch or a sequence that ends and all this stuff. Like I just told you, hey, this is going to go up in 2 days. It's kind of the same thing, but I'm not forcing it down anybody's throat. If anybody wants to join, that's totally cool. If they don't, they might join in June, whatever. It's all good.
Joey, I think that the difference here is, okay, I'm going to have a launch and it's going to last for 2 weeks. and then I'm going to have a close the cart, and I have 47 emails scheduled, and the cart's closing Sunday at midnight. You're welcome, team. And the cart's closing Sunday at midnight. So Saturday, 3 emails go out. The cart's closing in 22 hours. And then Sunday is the cart's closing at midnight tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 8 o'clock. And by the way, the Matt Basacks and the Kerns and the Cardones and the Bouchard, the blah blahs, they still do that. It works. Yeah. Does it mess up your list? Your friend? Again, I was talking to a client the other day, and we were talking about, he was showing me his opt-in video, and next to the video that he was his gift or his second step thingy of the funnel, he had the book a call here, and how much for, and I was like, I don't think that belongs here. He goes, well, I had a guy who set it up and it worked for one of my clients. And I was like, okay. And she had all kinds of people booking. I was like, okay, what did this person do? She says she was an animal communicator. I was like, okay, so they were booking a call to communicate blah, blah, with the animal. I said, how many did she close? He goes, none. I was like, okay, then split test the thing. You got ClickFunnels. So it's looking at, how do you really talk to people? And I know for me, I follow many emails and many people, and I follow a lot of people in my space to see what crap they're putting out and what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Susan doesn't ever want to. And like I told you, tomorrow I'm meeting with one of my creators, and I'm going to do a live, and I'm going to send an email out and say, hey, look, guys, we're launching in about a week or so. And the opportunity we gave you to get into these 2 products, it ends. That's it.
Right. So, I mean, but listen to the language you're saying, okay? That's different, remember? Because we were talking about the vocabulary before and what things are. Your cart isn't closing. Your opportunity is going away in 2 days, and that's fine. Yeah. It's a different vibe altogether.
Totally, completely. So it's how you do it, not, and I'm going to jump back into the 57 ideas, is copywriting. Let's jump into copywriting for a minute.
Okay, 1 second before you do that. Monica, you might be in a different area because there's 3 different broadcast areas. So if you're in one and somebody's in the other doing the comments, that's why you don't see them wherever you are. I just wanted to make sure I got that one, Scott.
See, I don't see Monica in where everybody else is, Meadows and Susan's and Petra's.
So Monica's probably on my Facebook page.
And Teen must be also, because she's not in the Meadow, Petra, Susan continuum.
That's okay. We got them all here. We'll put them up here.
Yeah, you just like to be like all over the place, Joey. Joey, all over the place, Ragona.
That's me.
Okay.
Let me just
at the top of the hour.
Here, let me just preface one thing about the email list or the group, the community, what you're building, and why it's so important. Because I want to really stress this, because this is what you pointed out today, and this reminds me going back to when I first started my very first business, and what I learned in doing that, as I studied first of all for the entire summer, looking at all the books and all that, and like, what's the most important thing that I need? And it was a customer list, right? Back then, there was no Facebooks and all this other stuff. And I remember going, because I was in the DJ business and I wanted to create a list where I could send to people and sell them records, vinyl at the time. And there was 2 main DJ, sources where they would rent DJ equipment that I knew, and we all know each other. And I went to one of them, and he was kind of like a competitor of mine, and we were just getting in the business. We didn't really like each other, but not to the degree where we hated each other. We didn't really vibe. But I went to him anyways, and I said, listen, man, would you do me a favor? Could I come into This is how bold I was. Could I just come into your office and go through all of your invoices and copy down everybody's name and addresses and phone numbers because I want to sell them these things. It has nothing to do with what you're doing. I'm not selling any of your stuff. He said no. And I went to another guy and he said, fantastic. Go ahead, do whatever you want. I stayed there for a week, Scott, going through and writing by hand everybody's name, addresses, and phone numbers. Okay. That's how I got my very first list. And I want everybody to hear this of how important it was for me and still is to have that base of customers, because that list, that one list, which was, I don't know, there was a few hundred, maybe 500 people on that thing, grew my business from 0 to over 5,000 customers within 3 years. And this was all done by mail order and all, and as you know, like magazine ads and all that stuff. And so it grew the business. It went to 6 figures back then with these small lists, and grew my list to 5,000 people. Here's the funny thing. And this is just a side note, but it's funny because the other guy I told you about, his name is Joe as well, passed on now. We became very, very close friends. It was funny because about 2 years later, he saw my business grow to beyond where he ever thought. It was like, this guy's a joke, right? He saw me everywhere in newspapers and, in the magazines, the industry magazines. He comes to me and he says, hey man, got a favor. Guess what he asks?
For the list.
Yeah. He says, could I tap into your list so I could? And I laughed and we laughed and we laughed. So I'm like, can you see the irony of this, Joe? And anyway, we became like almost like brothers, and it was a really good relationship. But the whole story is just about how important and how I did everything in my power to get the email addresses and a list of some kind so I could build my business. And I protected that list like Ken McCarthy, like it was gold.
It is.
So you wanted to talk about copywriting?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't know nothing about copywriting because I didn't ever finish Right Marketing Copy. I signed up for it and I didn't make all the classes and I got flunked by the teacher.
Did you get booted out?
Yeah, he booted me. Mm-hmm. He said I didn't pay enough money.
Okay.
Now I can't come back in. He books it on the times when I got yoga.
I see.
So one of the things,
Monica, sorry, Scott. Monica, you can stay where you are. Everybody's cool. Tyne, same thing. That's the reason why we're using this broadcast program, so we can be in all these other places, so you don't have to bounce around and be in where everybody else is.
Which leads me to one of the ideas, which is don't make me think, don't confuse me. And you're confusing me. So he talks about most businesses need to hire super salespeople. They need to remove the obstacles. And I'm not sure where this came from. Nick Barrow, he and I do a life purpose group mastermind on Mondays. Actually, he and I are the group. And he always says, eat your customer's complexity. And I'm sure it comes from somewhere. And yes, Petra, I can help you with your bullet points in WMC. It's removing the obstacles and it's eating the customer's complexity. I've got that written down here because, as you know right now, Joey, I am recording tutorials and I have to eat my customer's complexity, my buyer's complexity, my family's complexity to make it so simple.
Right.
And we talk about whenever we look at copy, whenever I look at copy, I'm like, defend that word, defend that sentence. Why did you say that? That's going to, thank you, Ben, eat your customer's complexity. Yeah. Who do you know, Ben? Do you know who said it, who that came from? But I love it. And when we talk about that is don't make me think. As soon as you confuse me, a confused mind does nothing. They click the X.
Yeah.
And like, if you make it so simple to read the ad, simple to understand the benefits, simple to see the value, simple to place the order. Joey, you know that in my VSLs, when I tell them what to do, click the blue button below, and then I say, and here's what's going to happen.
Right.
to go to the checkout page. It's going to look just like this. And you're going to fill in your name and information, and you're going to click next. And then you're going to enter your credit card information or your PayPal information. And as soon as you're done with that, here's what's going to happen. And you're going to go to the welcome page, and you're going to go check your email and this and this and this. And they're like, oh, this is simple. And then if everything happens exactly that way, you don't get refunds. You don't get.
What about the copy though? So that's the procedure. Okay. So that's one thing. What about the copy itself? Because we talked about the copy today, and that's why Petra is asking you about the bullet points, right? Yeah. So what about simplifying the copy?
The copy needs to be as short, sweet, and simple as possible. That's why I love bullets. There's 3 different kinds of bullets. There's a bullet that's got features and benefit bullet. Here's the feature, here's the benefit. There's a bullet that's got benefits only. And then there's a bullet that is curiosity bullet. And if you rotate between the 3, the more bullets that I can get into copy, the easier it is to read. And if a bullet has got bold and underlined, that I can scan it and go, okay, I'm going to get this. It's going to help me do this. And I'm going to get this. They're good. I got it.
Right. Because most people, when they write, and I've been guilty of this, I'm not pointing any fingers, but it's like we write the features of what it is. It's got this, it's got that. And a feature is what the thing is. That this is what it is. You're getting a coaching program that is 6 weeks long, blah, blah, blah. Right? But then there is the benefit. Okay, what's the benefit of the coaching program that is 6 weeks long? What am I going to get from that? And that's where a lot of people miss. And we see it all the time too, is okay, and they want help on their copy or why their landing page isn't working or the sales page. And then we'll ask them very quick questions in the group or something and say, well, what is it? And they'll give us what it is. It's a coaching program or it's this, but they don't talk about the benefit.
Well,
they don't say this is what it does for people.
Well, it was interesting because in 2 separate books I was reading side by side, one of them said, don't knock off copy. The other one said, you don't knock off copy, you read copy to see what's working. You and I have read the best copy.
Yeah. Isn't it in the same book? Isn't that what McCarthy said in that book?
Yeah, but I'm talking about what McCarthy said in his book, but then I was reading Over Deliver and I was reading Just Sell the Damn Thing at the same time. And one of them says, do it. One of them says, don't. The important piece of it is you want to read exactly what is working. Like I save everything Carlton sends, John Carlton, Perry Marshall. There's certain people who there's a file. So when I need some ideas, I'm not going to go copy their stuff. I'm going to say, okay, that's what's working. That's what people are opening. But at the end of the day, it comes down to how short can you say something?
Right. Well, let's talk about the benefit piece of it, because here's the thing. When you give a bullet or whatever it is, it's like, even the headline, the piece of it is that there are customers, whether they know it or not, are asking why, right? When they read something, it's just why. Why is that important? Why should I care? Why do I need this? What's in it for me? Like Ned is saying, and all this stuff. So today, when we were talking about the bullets, it's the general thing. So like a general example of this would be, how to make more money in 30 days. That's an okay bullet. It's like, okay, I'm going to learn how to make money, and there's a timeline. But there's still that piece that's missing, which is, why should I care? Why 30 days? What is it going to do for me? And the reason I'm saying this, because it's a simple example that everybody can grasp, because everybody understands, well, okay, if I make more money, then that may mean that I could do this, and I can do this, and I can do this. But what I did is I forced the audience or the reader to figure out what that money means to them in 30 days, right?
Well, and so the law of specificity should be applied to what you just talked about. And Netta made a good comment. Nobody cares how many videos. They just want to know what's in it for me. And no, a confused mind will never buy. when faced with confusion and too many choices, the X button is the easiest thing because I don't want to figure. If I go into a restaurant and they hand me a menu, I'm already confused. There's 47 things on it. Tell me what the best thing is and ask me some questions, and then I'll answer it. So, the law of specificity is if you do this one activity for, 20 minutes a day, you can make an extra $42.18. And the mind then says, okay, so if I do it for 20 minutes and I make that, what if I did it for an hour? Then I can make $120 a day. And so their mind starts to calculate it. And I'm going to jump here to what McCarthy says that you highlighted is nothing's changed since the beginning of time. When I first read Awaken the Giant Within from Tony Robbins, there's two things. People want to feel good or they want to avoid feeling bad. Period. That's life. Summed up. Words.
Yeah, for sure.
Pursue pleasure, avoid pain. Done. Everything else falls under that category. People want to be richer. Pleasure. Healthier, thinner, more attractive, more impressive to their friends, independent, have more time, do less work, feel better, have industry experience, raise successful kids. None of that's new. That's all feel good. People want to avoid pain. They don't want stress, pressure, fear, anxiety, discomfort, all that stuff. It all fits in. What is different is the real money is when you know how to breathe new life into that old theme. And that's where it comes down to the law of specificity, is how specific. Like you and I see a lot of copy where it's like, I'm going to show you how to make more money and save time. Well, that's so broad and vague, as opposed to, I'm going to show you how to make X $682.14 in the next 26 days by doing these three simple things, even if you've never did a headstand before. And now it's like, okay, that's getting specific. And I'll show you how to do it with a pen and a pad. So now it's different because I've taken make money, it's real easy, to here's the specificity of it. I'm overcoming some objections, all basically in a couple of sentences.
And I still think that there needs to be a benefit to that. That's the specificity there. Even if you don't want to get into those type of specifics for everybody listening, that I challenge you, which is what I did to the group today, is that all the bullets that they wrote were awesome. They were all really great. And so I just challenge them to say, every time you read that bullet, ask the question, so what, or why, or challenge yourself so that there is a benefit to it. That I'm just going back to what you said a couple of minutes ago about, not confusing the reader or anything like that. In the way that I approach the copy, whether it's right or wrong, it's just how I do it. I don't want the reader to guess of what I'm trying to say. Now, if going back to the example of how to make more money in 30 days, they could relate that to anything. But if I put in what that means, which could be as simple as, so you could pay off your Visa credit card bill. Right. That at least gives them something that, I see what that means. And then they can still insert whatever they want. Yeah. But they didn't have to think about what that really means, even if it's not a painful thing to do. And that's what we see a lot of. There's a lot of general things through the copy that we or the writer is expecting the reader to take further and understand what it really means. And that's our job, is to take it further, right?
Totally, completely. That's where the so rule, the so rule, I learned that from Perry Belcher many years ago.
Yeah. So what?
Just adding so to anything you write, so that. And a lot of times when I look at somebody's copy, I'll just say, okay, this is great. So what? So this happens. So.
Yeah. There's another transition I like to use a lot, which is which means and that means, rather than the so that you can. Because it's all these bullets and it's like the same thing. So that you can, so that you can. So I just like to change it up just to give anybody else some ideas on how to transition into that benefit as well.
Well, I played this with you before, where it's, okay, tell me what the feature is.
Yeah.
And now the benefit is, as a result, what happens, which means what? And then they answer it. And I was like, okay, great. So as a result, which, and I just keep going and going and going till it's like 21 levels deep, to the point where it's like, holy crap. And now you got all of this stuff instead of like, okay, so the feature is this 4-wheel brakes, and the benefit is so you don't crash. Well, no. So which means what? Which means you'll arrive safely all the time.
Yeah.
The result, you'll feel, which means that your insurance rates will go down. And so, in other words, by the time you get down there, you've got like all this amazing stuff. And then, of course, as you find more about your audience, your family, you can see what applies to them.
That's right, Monica. So we're gonna. There's a whole bunch of great comments. I want to get to them here. Ben, you're asking about a framework, I think, here, which is the so what, why, what, how, and when. We have broken down a couple of different frameworks that we like very simply, which is from the 3-minute rule. What's his name?
Brant Pinsitic.
Yeah, okay. I'll let you say that.
No problem.
And this one is really cool, Ben, because it kind of flips what we've been taught all of this time and getting to the point very quickly. And it is the what is this thing very quickly? Why is it important to me, like right now? And those are very small sections. What is it? Why should I sit here and listen to you or watch this or something? And then this is the piece that really turns the thing on its head, which is the how, because we've been taught sell them the why and the what, or give them that, but sell them the how. And I disagree. I think that we need to show them how. And we've proven it. We've broken down the profit first example, right, Scott? I told them how to do it, and that's why the thing every day gets 60+% opt-ins, because I'm showing them how to do something, and they want to know how to do it more. And so that's the framework of it, which is, what is it? Why do I need it? Or is this important to me? How does it work? And then if you want to have any credibility, this is where we've been taught, like, tell our story, give credibility up here, who we are. Screw that. They don't care about us. It's after we show them how of what we're doing and what it is, that we can then add in, hey, listen, this is why you need to listen to me. This is who I am. Because now they're saying, well, who the hell is Scott? Who are you to tell me all of this stuff? That's when you can bring in the credibility, a little bit of testimonials or something, and then you tell them, now go do this.
Well, Joey, so in the WAC method, exactly, what is it? That's the first thing people want to know. Okay, what is this thing you're talking about? Well, this is the thing. How does it work? Here's how it works. Here's everything about it. Are you sure it's going to work for me? Because that's the next thing people ask.
Yeah,
okay.
Which is the how. Like, are you sure? Show me how, right?
Then it's, can you do it? Which, as you said, is the last thing. That's when I say, look, I've done this thing 187 times. We've helped all these people, testimonials. I've got my PhD. I got my master's. I wrote the course. I did that. Blah, 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 blah. And when you make it that simple and that tight, I was teaching a group of people how to do a shot list for a video. And basically, I gave them 4 different methods, and one of them was the WAC method. What's your thing? How does it work? Are you sure that it's going to work for me? And why should I listen to it? Can you do it? So I've got a guy that gave me an 18-minute video. I told him I wanted a 5-minute video. And he's like, I can't do it in less than 18 minutes. I'm about to look at it and say, well, you got to do it in less time, because people aren't going to give you 18 minutes. Well, if they're not going to give me 18 minutes, then blah, 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 blah. I'm like, that goes to what we were talking about earlier. Eddie's
in the house. Thank you. Man. We're trying to soup it up a little bit here.
Wow. We're bringing in the heavy hitters now. Not that everybody else isn't a heavy hitter. Just please don't take that the wrong. Everybody's a heavy hitter.
Everybody's so important to us.
The club. Check out Joey with the pro light. got a little light in his office.
A little bit of ambience, Ambiance. So those are so important about the features and the benefits, and making sure that you clearly identify what it is that your customers want. And here, I was going to mention something. I forget who said it. Something about it's basically about the benefits of why they're so important. I think it was Netta who said that they don't want to buy our stuff, right? And here's the thing. I've mentioned this before, but I'll keep repeating this because it was such a shift in my mind when I learned it from Eben Pagan. And he said that our product and service is actually an obstacle between what the customer wants and what they get. And when you understand that, when you take that mindset on and say, wait a second, because really, if they could get the thing that they want without our product, they would. They don't want to buy our product. It just happens that we are the bridge between the one island that they're on and the dream island that they want to get to. And our job is to make that bridge very easy for them to understand and to navigate. But if they could do it without the bridge, they would definitely do it. So that is the reason why when I understood and looked at that perspective that, hey, listen, everything that I do in terms of all of my superpowers, coaching, programs, whatever, is still an obstacle. I want to make that obstacle as easy as possible for them to not only get through and do, but for them to understand what it is. And that's what we're coming down to in terms of the marketing and the copy and all that stuff. Do you agree, Scott?
Yes.
Good, because we started talking about email lists, and here we are back to copy, which is our one love.
Well, it's always about you and right marketing, copy and copy and copy. And because at the end of the day, it is all about copy, Joey.
It is.
Everything. It doesn't matter if it's a book, if it's a comic book, if it's an ad, if it's a piece of paper, if it's a flyer, if it's an email, if it's a postcard. It's about copy. And because we have to convince people in a good way.
Yeah.
We have to get their attention. The old AIDA, we got to get their attention. How? With a good headline. We got to get them interested. How? Talking about them. We got to create desire. How? By telling them how their life's going to be way cooler, or we're going to take them out of pain. And then, action. We got to tell them what to do. It hasn't changed forever.
Yeah, right.
And it never will, because it's the same basic tenets that say, let's make it as simple and easy. I pour through copy. I wrote the VSL for our software, and it was 1,600 words, and it was like a 16-minute script by the time it was done. It's down now to about 9 minutes and change. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at what today we looked at a piece, and I was like, that doesn't belong in there. That just doesn't serve any purpose. Defend it. When I analyze a web page, when I analyze anything, a video, I was like, defend what you did right there. Can you defend what you're doing in your emails, in your copy, on your web page? It's always about the message. Eddie says, Eddie looks like a baseball player in his thing.
He does. It's awesome.
He's like awesome. He's like so handsome. I don't like being on screen with him because it's like, look how handsome Eddie is. And then there's me and you, Joey.
Yeah.
Story behind the message, and then marketing the message, the copy. Exactly. The story. And what did you come up with this week, Joey? Story something?
Oh, story serving.
Story serving. I think that was just incredible.
Thank you.
That Kendra Hall. And I read Kendra's book. I bought a bunch of stuff from her. I've listened to her. She's wonderful at teaching people how to tell stories and breaking stories apart. I bought it for one of my business partners a couple of years ago and had him listen to it. It was wonderful. And, the story brand thing and anything with stories, because at the end of the day, you and I tell stories all the time. Joey, yeah. I remember 20 years ago when I was doing my first presentation to a seminar in a U-shape in a room. And I stood there, and the owners of the seminar company that were hiring me or were going to hire me wanted to see how I was going to perform. And I remember standing up in front of the room, and I read somewhere that if you stood still and put your thumbs on your pant leg like you were wearing a tuxedo and stayed like that all the time. And I pretty much presented like that and didn't move. Years later, I learned how. And it was interesting because in the middle of that seminar, a Palm Beach County sheriff opened the back door, walked in, and served me while I was. It had to do with a rental company thingy, off-premise catering event, and the owner this, and I had a client wanted to charge ridiculous of money for something he rented it out 87 times, and I was like, "You're crazy! I'm not paying it." So just wanted to clarify that. But I started telling a story and it had some interest and fun. Or, I remember the day that I walked into a seminar full of hotel managers and they were sitting there like this with their arms crossed. And I'm looking around the room with the most uncomfortable feeling ever. And I'm like, what's going on in here? They go, it doesn't matter what you try and teach us for the next 2 days. The person that hired you isn't going to let any of it happen. And I'm like, oh my God, can I crawl back under the covers in my room and give your money back? People are like, what happened? What happened? Is it?
I probably would sit at the front of the room like this too. Okay, guys, we got 2 days. I can sit here just as long as you.
Yeah.
But that's me. That comes from the testadura Italian, right?
Well, again, we're programmed once upon a time.
Yeah.
As soon as we hear those 4 words, it's like, okay, what's next? What's next? What's the story?
Right.
Yeah.
If anybody has a question regarding your marketing stories, your email group, your list, anything about that, put it in the comments. We'd love to help you. Maybe give us a thumbs up or a heart to let Facebook know that we're doing an okay job and we can serve this to more heart-centered entrepreneurs. They see that we're doing a good job. If you think we're doing a good job, that'd be awesome. And we're just talking about marketing. We talked about a little bit of why the list is so important, and it is so important. It'll never go away. Like, that's the number one asset, because if everything goes to hell, you have your group of people that you can communicate, however that new communication may be, whether that's still snail mail or whatever it is in the future, you will be able to build your business back up. That's the number one thing that you need. And in today's day and age, it's always been in terms of a relationship-based marketing, but it really took a huge dent in the last 20 years or so, when this online marketing came into play, and it's destroyed a lot of the trust in my mind from what people expect from marketers. That's why marketers have a really bad name in all this. But it's if you care about your clients or your community, your tribe, your family, equally or more than what you care about, than caring about building your business and putting money in your bank, your bank account will automatically grow. It's just the law of how it works. I can't explain it, but it does work. And here's this funny thing. I can't tell you, well, I could tell you, there's a few emails that happen every single week that I get that are just simple stuff like this. One today is standing out of my brain, and it was a simple email that came back that said, wow, an actual human. And all I did was, the first email was sent out, and it was an automated email that asked the question, which was, the Dean Jackson 9-word email thing. That was an automation thing, but I responded, and I responded back, and that person responded back to me and said, wow, real human on the other side. And then she said, how do you have all the time to go through all of the responses and send and respond back to people like me? And I didn't respond because when I got the email, that response was like last night, I think it was, when I checked, and I have certain times of the day when I will respond. And that's exactly what I said to her today. So the reason I can do this is because I carve out time to talk to people on a real one-to-one basis and find out more about how I can help you. And that's what people are craving, especially in today's world. Today's world is closed off, and we have a huge opportunity more than ever to build relationships. And I promise you that if you build relationships, your business will flourish.
Joey, here's a challenge I'm going to make to everyone, you included, and Eddie. I want you to write a letter, handwritten, on a piece of paper, and send it to somebody. And see what response you get. And look at how you do that without trying to frame the whole, it's all those emails with capital letters and extra punctuation that ruined it for everyone else. And now it's the emojis and the thingies. And it's like, really, seriously, building relationships. Thank you, Netta. Building relationships, yes, is the most important part in any business partnership. It takes both parties to engage and communicate to reach the ultimate goal. It also takes a bit of time, exactly, to make it work. It takes elbow grease.
Yeah.
Somebody posted the other day that a couple of weeks ago was like, I just found this new artificial intelligence copywriting thingy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how can that be? It's like, okay, Joey, so I got this book. I read it. I was so impressed with the book. The address was on the back here. I wrote a handwritten letter on my pen pad.
Mm-hmm.
I just scribbled it. It was amateurish. It looked like a kid wrote it. I crossed stuff out, and I sent it to the guy that wrote the book. 2 days ago, I went to the mailbox, and I saw this in it, and I'm like, it was I was like, no idea. I opened it up, and isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
I mean, and it basically was, dear Scott, thank you for your letter. It came at a very opportune time. I'm thinking of starting a new phase of education work on a new kind. Thanks for your encouragement. Very motivational right now.
So, how do you think that makes him feel? Obviously, you can tell. How does it make you feel? Okay. Just that human contact right there. And you're probably one of the very few, if at all, wrote a letter. And that you've just created, whether you wanted to or not, but a new bond and relationship. Because I'll bet you that if you go to his seminar and say, hey, I'm Scott, by the way, I wanted to thank you for that awesome card you sent back to me. He's going to immediately understand and know who you are. And you've already developed a next level relationship just by doing that, even if you had no intention of getting something from him.
Well, again, Joey, there was no intention. There was so much gratitude. Yeah. And the letter basically was about how impressed I was that in such a small book, he was able to sum up such good quality content, which is why I told you to read it. And you did. And Netta said, I have lots of people that respond to me thinking I wrote directly to them, because actually, Netta, you did.
Yeah, I was just going to say you did. It's on automation, but you did.
Well, because you write to one person at a time, which again goes to why we talk about avatars. And Susan asks, can you add people to a list without giving a gift? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do people do that? Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't, just to clarify, we're not talking about scraping lists, because that's where a lot of people do that.
Why not?
That is not cool.
Why can't we go out and scrape lists and hire people on Fiverr to get us 10,000 likes and scrape a list, and then we can have a Facebook group with 4 million people on YouTube, and we could be tubers, and we could have ads, and we could have all these boats full of beautiful women and all this money and cars in front of our mansions.
Yeah. No bueno. Don't add people to your list if they do not give you the permission. So anybody that I add to my group, and it may not be through a gift, I still say, is it okay for me to add you to the group? And you'll get some emails from me, and they say, sure, that's cool.
Oh yeah, always permission. Always permission.
I'm waiting on our thank you cards to be delivered so that I can handwrite them. Awesome. That's awesome. I even write thank you cards and to my tenants in properties. I send them birthday cards. I send them, Thanksgiving and Christmas cards and all that stuff, and handwrite them. I used to handwrite addresses on a sheet of paper where I could copy them on labels and stick on letters and cards. People flipped that over. Wow, handwritten addresses, and more people came in. If you do that now, you'll see how fast you will bond with people. And all it takes is just a little extra time. And for me, you guys have heard me say a lot that I spend time in chats, like personal chats with people, not the bots, not copy and paste, one-on-one chats. And I always get questioned about, well, how much time do you have? When do you sleep? And the thing is that, yeah, there's a lot of extra time putting into it at this point. And the only thing that you have as an entrepreneur at the beginning is time. And the thing is that a lot of entrepreneurs, because I've dealt with them for a decade and I see it happening every time, they try to avoid putting in time because they want freedom, and they waste a lot of the valuable time that they could be putting in to building relationships that will build their business, that gives them the time that they want in the first place. So think about that. If you invest the time at the beginning to build the relationships, then that will snowball into making your life a whole lot easier and give you the time freedom that you can buy back later. What is the name of the book? Tell them the name of the book, please, Scott.
57 Big Ideas by Ken McCarthy, The System Club Letters.
There you go.
It's an awesome book. It really is. One of the things in the book, Joey, that you didn't write down, and I think we may have talked about it, but I'm going to talk about it again.
I didn't highlight it? I
don't think so. Grand Slam?
Yeah, it's there.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's right down. It's right. I'm looking at it right now.
Where?
It's right towards the end of the document. Your daily Grand Slam.
I don't see it, Joey. It's okay, but I'm going to talk about it because
I wonder if I could. No, hang on a minute.
We could on your other thingy, but not this thingy. Wait, I can share, can't I? No.
Yeah, we can share. How do you share on this darn?
It doesn't matter. Maybe you didn't highlight it. Maybe
I did. It's even highlighted. It's even highlighted. Wealth creation method number 1 is what I call the Grand Slam. How wealth is created. Real money making is a quiet, modest process. It's all there.
No, that's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the daily Grand Slam.
No, it's not the thing I'm talking about.
What are you talking about?
Unless my PDF's messed up here.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so he talks about a Grand Slam in one of my friends years ago named Ray Pelletier, was an amazing speaker. He said an overnight success takes time. And you and I have had this conversation where the gurus or the people that everybody will buy the bright and shiny object because here, let me show you how I went from $37 to $42,000 in under 4 weeks by doing this simple method. And let me show you my PayPal and my Stripe. And let me show you these people that have done the same thing. And it's all a bunch of crap because tell me what happened for the last 20 years. Tell me the 10,000 different little events, instances, relationships, occurrences that happened that all came together when you got to that point. And in the book, it talks about that's a Grand Slam in baseball. So think about a Grand Slam in baseball. If you're down 10-0 and you hit a Grand Slam, it's meaningless. It means absolutely nothing. 4 runs does nothing if you're down 10-0. Right. And what he says is, in order for that Grand Slam to happen, you got to prove me, don't you?
Yeah, it's right here.
Well, I don't see it on mine.
Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
So, anyway, what he says about the Grand Slam is think about what each of those ball players that got a hit had to go through from when they joined Little League to when they went to high school ball and college and then the minors and the majors, and how many times they went at bat and what did they have to do to get their position on the field, and then what did they have to do to get into the batting order so that that day they were able to hit and get on base. And then the 2 players after that first player, all the years and all the thousands of events and at-bats and catches and fly balls and grounders and everything that they had to go through to get their spot, to then load the bases for then that player to come at bat at exactly the right time all the times they struck out like a Babe Ruth or whatever, and all the times it is there was 10,000 things that had to line up in order for that grand slam to happen. And it's the same thing with everything we do. It goes back to what you said earlier. Writing copy is elbow grease. You got to sit there and you got to write and you got to get it out and you got to edit it and tear it apart. I would go to coffee shops with 10 pads and write and write and write and then put it all together and do it again and do it again and do it again and then edit it and down and down and down to everything in there, like we said, has to earn its place. And if somebody's going to read that, and where would they call BS? Go look at your copy and where could somebody call BS? And because the bigger the claim, this is right out of Perry Belcher's mouth, the bigger the claim, the higher the lift.
Of course.
If I say I could show you how to do this in 5 minutes a day and make $1 billion, then that's a huge lift. I've got to sell the hell out of that. If I say, if you took 10 minutes a day and did this thing, at the end of the day, I could show you how to make an extra $20. I don't have to really sell that much. It's like, okay, yeah. If I
see, like, that's why a lot of people go, in my mind, they go for the Grand Slam all the time. Yeah. And you don't have to do that. No. And by the way, just to go back to the Grand Slam thing, the reason you don't see what you're talking about is because I didn't highlight all the baseball stuff. I didn't need it because I understand what it is. What the two important things are is what's highlighted there, where real money happens in the quiet, modest processes of all the stuff that we do build over time, all the little things behind the scene. And then all of a sudden, boom, the Grand Slam happens. And then everybody says, wow, you guys are amazing. Or that was an overnight success. You guys, blah, blah, blah. But they don't see all the little things. And these are what we talk about. So,
well, the real, like, for example, Joey, in 6 months from now, you're going to say, sorry, but my VIP is closed and I've got 150 people in it and they're paying now $1,500 a year to be in it and that. And it's like, oh my God, Joey, that's amazing. But let's rewind 2 years from 6 months now and say, okay, what was going on then? And I remember when the group started and I joined the group and I looked at it and we have a couple of comments here and there. Even when we did our first set of lives, it was like, yeah, maybe somebody showed up. And it was like, then all of a sudden, over the period of time, it gained the momentum because it was consistency. It was consistent. Keep showing up. Keep being consistent. Keep putting out value. Again, Joey, I have never seen anybody put out the voluminousness of content, of valuable content that you put out. A lot of people just post junk. I'm sharing, Freddie's post on this and that. Yeah, you share something of value. You create comments. You create interest. You help people with valuable information, not just, I'm going to share this thing that this dude shared because, I think it's okay. No, you share value that enables people to grow their businesses, and that's why your group has grown, your family has grown, your tribe has grown, your club has grown, your VIP has grown, and the soon-to-be
Atlas.
Thank you, Atlas Shrugged, in sync.
Well, that's already got a waiting list. It's cool. And these are the things, like you said, Scott, that I'm no different than anybody else. It's just that I am willing to put in the time to do it. And anybody can do the exact same thing. And that this is not one of those marketing things like, hey, because if I can do it, you can do it. Well, it's actually true. It's like, if there's no secret formula. The thing is, do you care about the audience that you want to serve? And if you do care about them, then show them that you care. And that's it. That's it. And you do that by putting time in. So and the hardest part about it is, like, rewind 2 years, 3.5 years ago, whatever, when there's no money, that's the hard times. Those are the times when Bill Phillips, it's on my wall here. And, I remember reading that book, and Bill Phillips, if you don't know, he's the dude with the, bodybuilding to the stars and all that.
Yes.
And
yeah.
from his book, I got that one thing was when you are, faced with real adversity, your true character shows when adversity hits. It's not when you can say it that, oh yeah, I can take the tough times and all that. No, it's when it actually hits that your true character shows.
Yeah.
And that is what I mean by, if you say, well, I care about these people, or I care about my audience, and all this, well, at least for me, the true character was, dude, you got no money. Do you still care like you say you care? And I think I proved it. I think it was like, yeah, you know what? I do. I care. I'm going to go in there. And that's all I say to all of my clients. Every time they want to do something, and so how did you get to where you are? There's no secret. I tell them exactly the same thing. And what I'm sharing here. So it's like, just go do this. And the real secret is, do you care enough to get past all the bullshit? And if you do, your business is going to flourish. It's just a matter of time. Thank you, by the way, Tyne, and thank you so much, Monica. Thank you so much. We, both of us, I mean, Scott is one of the most authentic people I've ever met, and same as Eddie, all of you. Like the tribe is here. We are all together the same. And that's what is so cool about it, because we all think the same way, and we attract the same type of people, and it makes it easy to communicate. There's no more trickery or convincing or anything that has to do with anything, because everybody thinks the same way. We're all going in the same direction. We all want to go somewhere. And that's what's so cool about it, because it doesn't have to be, well, this is my avatar. This is a person between 35 and 50. They've got $100,000 and 2 kids, and they've blah, blah, blah. That's fine and dandy if you want to pick out your character and all that. But it doesn't matter about the past. Really, it doesn't matter about the past. It matters about the future, right? And so I want everybody to grasp that, because it's so important in our marketing. It's like, who's the audience that has the same commonalities but are going in the same direction? They all might have different pasts. They might have, they're different people. They're different cultures. And that's why I don't necessarily market to the avatar. I market to the audience and the problem.
And Joey,
and the destination.
Roy Williams, Wizard of Ads, he's very big on that. It's your marketing to the audience, not to the avatar. I still believe in the avatar when I'm actually thinking about and writing copy, because I'm writing to a
No doubt.
As far as marketing, if I just marketed to the avatar, it ain't going to happen, because that's not who the audience is.
In most cases, right? In there are exceptions to the rule that the avatar and the audience is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Right? So, but you're right. So keep going.
Well, no, I mean, like if somebody is dealing with a certain age that experiences a certain ailment that is only specific to that age, that gender, that ailment, then yes, the target audience and the avatar are the same.
Right.
But there's also the flip side of, oh, you've heard this before. Who's your audience? Everybody in the world needs my thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Not everybody in the world needs your thing. There has to be some psychographics involved in what is really this person's need, their struggle, their pain, whatever, the fears, frustrations, anxieties, need, but whatever you want to call all of that. And it goes into right marketing copy and the copy bank and the research because for people wanting to write copy, you can't really come and define even though Susan struggles, is your avatar.
Sarah struggles.
Excuse me. Sorry, Susan. Susan right here on my left screen. And Sarah struggles. If you just said that, well, Ben's here and Gord's there and Elsam and Glenn and all of these other people would say, well, sorry, you can't be part of the club because you're not Sarah. You're looking for people who are heart-centered entrepreneurs, who are building a business online, who really need to get their message in a loving, caring way to their audience, and need to understand how to put it all together and write copy.
Susan struggles. I might change my avatar name.
Freudian slip there, Susan. Sorry.
Susan struggles.
Susan struggles too. Yeah, Susan struggles, and Susan shows up, and Susan does the work, and Susan never gives up.
Never. She's
never.
Wow.
I watch Susan struggle, but I watch her struggle, and it's like the caterpillar who struggles in the metamorphosis to become a butterfly.
There's a like a laundry list of names that are in our group that do that, right? Who, and the cool thing is that we all struggle with the same thing, and we all bond, and that's the beauty of having the community, beauty of having people around you that not only support you, but are also telling their own story and being vulnerable in at least our community. That's what I love about it. And you feel safe. I've heard that word come up a lot of times now, where people I feel safe here, and you don't really hear that a lot on a Facebook thing, right? It's like, I'm not even going to give you my real name on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
A Facebook thing and saying, I feel safe here. That to me is such an honor and just shows you the mentality of what we create of being, the moderators and helping and build that and being there every single day, but the group themselves, right?
Yeah. I told you a couple of weeks ago, I kicked somebody out of my group, gave them their money back, I revoked their access to everything.
Yeah.
I was like, you're not what we're about.
Yeah.
I know for you, the people that just join the group and then do nothing, it's like, okay, you're out of here. You're not.
I just believe it's more of a distraction. It's not that I don't want people in my group. It's about, why are you here? Like, if you don't see that we're doing something different, at least trying as hard as we can to truly support you, because we're not slamming sales things down your throat. And in like other groups, you have all these, this is all the crap. We're not doing that. We're actually trying to help you, and you're still sitting on the sidelines. So to me, we're a distraction. And that's the reason why I do that, is I purge the group. It's not a power trip or anything else. It's like, you know what? It's just, this isn't serving you. You don't need to have another group on your list.
Well, but I have 787 groups I belong to.
Right. Well, this is going to be one less, right? So
that's the first red flag when somebody asks to join one of our groups, and it's like, I'm in 787 groups, and when you look at them, they're all in Arabic or something. Yeah. But no offense to anybody in the Middle East, but if I can't read what groups you're in and you belong to 787 of them and you haven't answered my questions, you ain't coming in. It's just, sorry.
Yeah.
Take a minute and answer my 3 questions.
And this goes back to what we started with at the beginning of this, which is the list, which is the group, right? Yeah. I'd rather have 50 people, 25, 50 people in a Facebook group or whatever who are engaging and supporting and helping, and we help each other. And it's the same as the email list. I'd rather have, 100, 200 people, 1,000 people maybe. I don't need hundreds of thousands of people, but those people are engaging. They're helping. They're opening the emails. They're responding back when I say, hey, by the way, can you let me know what you need help with? Or you ask a question and they actually respond because they know they're going to get a response back from a real human being on the other side, that there's an engagement there. And when you have that kind of community, then the selling parts of things and all that stuff that you put out into the world is so much easier. And it's because you're not forcing it. You're saying, hey, look, I got Atlas. Are you interested in this thing? Would you like to know about this? And it's like, yes or no. People put up their hand or they don't. And I don't put out this thing, blast a list and go, hey, by the way, I got this thing. Go over here and sign up and blah, blah, blah. No.
Are you going to hire a boy band when you launch Atlas?
A boy band?
Yeah, in sync.
Oh no, that's a whole other, that's synchronicity we're talking about. now you're like, that's the way beyond the Atlas thingy.
I know.
Yeah. All right, my friend, we are almost at the top of the hour.
Almost at the top of the hour again.
Almost at the top of the hour. It was good talking to you.
Any other questions? I still don't know what Meadow does. I asked earlier. But
Ah, no, are you still here? Let us know what you do.
yeah,
I know what you do, but I'll let you.
I'm curious to know what she does. I like her name. It's cool.
Isn't it?
Meadow Faith. Yeah. Wow. Be out in the meadow praying, faith, yoga. It just sounds like I never thought I would get an answer to your first call to action. Thank you again.
You're welcome. And it's actually me.
Real Joey Ragona.
It's me.
Joey's real.
It's funny when I get those responses because people are just so used to automation, and it's like, my God, somebody actually responded to me.
Joey, you did something 2 minutes ago. And for you, you said you don't need a list of 10,000, 100,000 people. And at this point in what you're doing, no, you don't. You need a list of a few hundred or 1,000 people. And that's good for you. There could be somebody on here that wants a list of 100,000 people or 500,000 or 1 million, because for whatever they're doing, they can serve that list, that group, that audience, that family, that tribe. And that's okay too, depending on what is. One of the shows we did a few months back was
boom, Petra. Love you. Boom.
Joey's Angels. Wow, I like it. I like it.
Threw Scott right off. It's like we did it, Petra. High five.
High five. Boom.
We threw Scott off.
Well, I was trying to think who Bosley was in the whole mix here. So,
what were you saying? Do you remember what you were saying?
Well, we were talking about. Yeah, I remember. We were talking about you saying you don't need 100,000.
Oh, right. Okay, the list. Right, the size of the list.
Some people might need or want to have that many on their list, depending on the reason, the purpose. We did a show a few months back about building a business around a brand or building a business around you. And it was, well, what's the end result? What are you trying to accomplish? And
Dude,
so,
like, I have no problem having a big list, right? It's just what I say though is where people are brainwashed into thinking that they need a big list. They're brainwashed into thinking, well, I need a minimum of this list to do that. Well, no, you could literally, if you had a list of 25 people, and you wanted to do a beta launch to do thing, and all you need is 1 or 2 people in your beta launch. Like if you've got the mindset of really, you don't need this big thing to go do. And you've seen me do it. I've done this. It's not like I'm saying something that I've never done before.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't remember whose book this was in. It could have been one of Brendan Burchard's, but it was talking about something similar where this guy had no list, he had no business, but he had an idea. And the idea was he was going to get a group of people to come network at these incredible resorts all over the world. And all he had to do was find the first one.
That's right.
And let's just call dude 1 or dudette 1. And then all he had to do was say, hey, Joey, I got dudette 1 coming to the thing. You want in, it's only 25 grand. And you're like, well, crap, to hang out with dude or dudette 1, I'm in. And then it's the next call is I got dudette 1 and dude 2, are you in? And 12 people at whatever was hundreds of thousands of dollars for 10 people.
Well, dude, like you said, that's how, okay, so I got to know some of the big names that I know now on a personal level, right? Where I did the exact same thing about, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago or something like that, where I said, listen, I forget who the first person I emailed was, or it was actually a chat, I think it was. And I said, I'm doing a book of like the favorite quotes.
Yeah.
Your favorite quote. And I want to do that. And that's how it all worked. So then I got you and I said, listen, I got Scott and I'm doing this book and blah, blah, blah. Would you like to be in it? And I'll link back to your thingy and all that. And that's how I got to know these people on the chat personally giving me their information and saying, cool, that's how, and it was something that they would benefit from.
Yeah.
Right.
I've told you that in the past, anytime I started a business, I started out writing a book or an article. And I would just find the first person and I say, I'm writing a book on so-and-so. I'm writing an article on so-and-so. I'd like to interview you. And when I'm done with the whole thing, I'll give you a copy of it. And at the end of the conversation, it was, who else do you know that I should talk to?
Right.
Interviews always went well. And they would be like, you should talk to so-and-so. And I'm like, holy crap, so-and-so? How do I get a hold of so-and-so? How about I give you a cell phone number?
Yeah.
And, you talk to so-and-so, and then it's like, oh, so-and-so. What is it, 6 degrees or 7 degrees of separation?
Yeah.
Everyone is X number of handshakes away from anybody on the planet.
It's true.
Again, going back to writing that note, there was no ulterior motive whatsoever other than thank you. You and I met a period of time ago, which maybe one day we'll know. There was no ulterior motive, never has been, and will be. It was just, but now if I was like, okay, Joey, I need this, you'd be like, okay, when? How much? Scott, I need this. Fine. When? How about now? Okay, good. Done. It was like what the people I've helped over the years when I used to Zoom my, Zoom calls. Let's get on a Zoom and let me help you fix your copy, your landing page, your stuff and stuff. Can I hire you? No. Can I see your stuff? No. When I needed to, I had one of my designers and she was building a challenge collection. And literally, I was like, Holly, I need your help. She goes, how about when? I said, now. She goes, I'm in my pajamas. She got on in her pajamas. And then it was, Tracy, I need you. She's, how about right now? Alicia, I need you. How about right now? And the list, how about right now? Why? Because I had made deposits, not intentionally.
Exactly.
Expecting anything. It was a superpower that I was able to exercise until I got shut down by my advisory board for good reasons. And do it. Go out and help people. We talk about this all the time. Go out and help people, help people, help people. You'll get to a point where you'll get so busy.
Yeah.
Because that energy spreads.
Yeah. It's
again, the clients last year that I still don't know where they came from.
Yeah.
I know where they came from, but I don't. I know because I was in a certain group helping it, like you. You go into a group and you help and you help and you help, and then people go, this guy knows what he's talking about. And then they get into your group, and then they join the VIP, and then they become part of Joey's Angels, and then they become a disciple, and then they drink Joey's Kool-Aid, and then Joey comes out with Joey energy drink. They'll buy cases of it. And then you'll have 10,000 people who buy 5 cases a month on continuity, and you'll be sitting on the beach drinking pina coladas while you automatically make money because that's how easy it is.
Yeah, right. I hope everybody knows you're joking around. Cool, man.
Everybody on this call knows by now that
there's some valued bombs here is all the time that that happens. And hopefully that if you're listening to this live, thank you for being here live. Thank you for being here on the replays. If you are on the replay and you wanted to ask a question, by all means, drop it in the notes because I will go back and check the notes to keep engaging with you and have that and open that relationship. All you said is all important, man. I just want to keep on stressing that for anybody who is challenged with their business to grow it, there are great methods and the whole opt-in thingies and the gift sequences and all that. They're all great, but it's all based on relationships. And that's, speaking of Atlas, that is what I'm going to prove to people that are in that group is that they don't need any funnel, landing pages, Facebook ads, launches. They don't need anything. And I've already had people who said that's hard to believe. And that's exactly what I want them.
It's true, Joey. I have made a lot of money without that stuff.
Yep.
Without it. And again, can I hire you? No. Can I see your website? I don't have one. Can I get your business card? I don't have one. Can I see your stuff? I don't have any. Can I give you money? No.
Why are they asking you that though?
Because I deliver on what I say I can do.
Yeah.
And I provide results for people. I help build brands and fun and successful businesses for people. And when they see you know what you're talking about, they want that, because what does everybody want at the end of the day? They want to get their business up, they want to be making money, and they want to be successful in whatever that means. And when you prove, like you prove you do it. Somebody earlier said, are you working one-on-one? And you're like, I'm getting away from that, because to work one-on-one with somebody in this day and age, the amount of time, effort, energy, and investment, I mean, you're looking at 25 to 50 grand to take on a client, a project.
Yep.
And then the problem is, at the end, you're out of business.
Yeah.
And you got to start all over again. But for anybody in here, you've heard me say this, Joey, at the end of the day, if I've improved the quality of somebody's life by 10%, it's been a great day.
Right.
And that could be as simple as a kind word, getting somebody to smile or laugh, or giving them an idea. The amount of information that you give to people, that's sage advice. When you tell somebody to do something, it works. Why?
Usually it does, because it's worked for other people. It's worked for me. I've walked the talk, walked the talk, I guess. And I truly believe it. And it also comes from, and I know you are the same way, it comes from the abundance mindset, right? And I've had people who say, I'm kind of in the same thing that you're doing. I'm not sure if I should be asking you this. And I'm like, go for it. Like, there's nothing I learned from other people. The only reason I'm here and you're looking at me as the guide or somebody who can help you is because somebody else guided me. And I'm taking that information and synthesizing it, or putting in my own spin on it, or actually just sharing the exact thing with you to help you. Because you and I both know, Scott, that when we see someone succeed, especially with our stuff or our advice, really just our input, like, hey, if you just go do this, go give this a try, and it improves their life. Like you just said, it just improves their life. Don't you get you get those goosebumps? You get that feeling, right? Yeah. And that is, to me, what it's all about. It's like, man, if I could do this, if I could wave a magic wand and give everybody this feeling, I would do it.
Yeah.
And the only way that we could do that is by sharing our knowledge and our love and our support for everybody in our tribe, and giving the best advice we can to move them forward, so we could be that guide and that shining light to get them out of that dark cave. To me, that's what it's all about.
Awesome.
As we go, note for tomorrow, relationship building texts, which start now, but it's 2:30 a.m. I love you for being here, Tyne. Thank you. This means so much to us that you are here in the middle of the night following us and listening to this broadcast. Thank you so much. My head says good nights. Thank you. Good night to you.
Yep, she's right.
The best we can do is help make the world a better place. You are right. Starting one person at a time. That's exactly right. That's how I did it. I know Scott did it the same thing. Work on one person at a time. Yep. Thank you all for being here. We love you and hope to see you again next Tuesday. Don't know what we'll be talking about, but it'll be fun. I promise you that. Scott, love you, man. You're awesome.
Thanks, bro.